Why you feel worse when you finally slow down? Have you ever asked that question? I asked that question to myself many times. And if you have ever slowed down, taken a weekend off, or finally had the time to rest, and instead of feeling better, you actually felt more anxious, more restless, or even more exhausted, I want you to know that that's not a problem. That's actually a pattern in your behavior. And it actually makes a lot of sense. Okay? So bear with me for a minute. This is something I hear often from my clients. And they come to me and they say, I finally had the time to relax and I couldn't. Or I stopped working, but my mind wouldn't stop working. Or they also say, I thought I needed rest, but I felt worse when I was resting. And then comes the confusion because they get very confused about this. And this is what is actually happening. Why I can just relax. But the truth is, you're not doing anything wrong. It is your nervous system responding exactly as it has learned how to do it. Okay? So in the last video, we talked about how constant pressure keeps your system activated, constantly work mode, on. But here's the part most people don't even expect. When you finally slow down, your body doesn't immediately feel the relief because it's not used to it. It feels totally unfamiliar. And that sense of being unfamiliar creates uncomfortable feelings, right? Now, it feels worse because you've been in performance mode for a very long time. Your nervous system adapts to that state. Okay, you train it. So being on becomes your normal. So when you actually slow down, your system doesn't recognize it as rest. It actually experiences it as a loss of control because you're not doing what you're used to do. Okay, and what happens in this moment? And this is where things get very important for you to understand. When the pressure stops, other things start going to the surface, like fatigue you've been pushing through comes to the surface. Thoughts that you've been postponing comes to the surface. Emotions that you didn't have time to process and work on comes to the surface. So rest creates that space of bringing that awareness. And many people feel uncomfortable when they have the time and the space to deal with that. And that's why for many, many individuals, this is also kind of like an identity shift because you're used to being productive, reliable, needed. But now you have the time to face other things. And there's the subtle discomfort, not because something is wrong, but because you're stepping outside of what your system is used to do. Okay? Now, so let's reframe this. I want to reframe this and help you understand this better. Feeling worse when you slow down doesn't mean rest is failing. It means your nervous system is adjusting. Okay? It means your body's noticing what it didn't have a space to notice before. Those thoughts, those feelings, those uncomfortable emotions. So what you need to do instead is instead of trying to relax perfectly and, you start by allowing the discomfort. You notice it without trying to fix it immediately, like putting your nervous system into that situation so it can learn to slow down and it can learn that it's safe to slow down. And this is how real regulation begins. All right. So if slowing down has felt hard for you up to this point, let me tell you, you're not alone. And you're not doing it wrong either. You're just in a transition to get your nervous system from one place to another. So it is a learning process. So in the next video, we're going to talk about something a lot of people are afraid of and how to stay ambitious without burning out. Because you don't have to choose between success and your well-being. And I guess this is where I'm coming with all these things. You just have to learn how to make rest part as your success journey.